Hello everyone! This is Running on Empty Food Review. Well, hello ladies, gentlemen, and everyone watching. Welcome one and all to this newest edition of the Running on Empty Food Review series. I'm your host, the Report of the Week. Thank you for checking in. So, you're probably thinking to yourself, because obviously this video doesn't have any sort of title, so you have no idea what I'm even doing right now. You see the paper right here, and you're probably thinking, Review Bra, he's actually going to do it. He's actually just going to eat this piece of paper for once. But I fooled you. I didn't. I'm not going to. As a matter of fact, I'm not trying paper this time around. I am, however, trying Taco Bell's new Decades menu. And it's an interesting concept. I'll give them that. Obviously, this is going to have to be quick because I only have about 20 minutes to do this. There's going to be 4 full-blown items in this. So essentially, all I could really do is just take a bite, tell you if it's good or not, and go from there and just cover the main points. But essentially, Taco Bell is premiering a new menu for a limited time, and I think the concept is actually pretty interesting. They're celebrating 50 years, and what they've decided to do is release a special item, like a throwback item, for a limited time, celebrating each decade. So you can get an item from the 1960s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s. And right now they have the items from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s released. The one from the 2000s will be coming out later on in the month of November. And I'm just going to try them all out and, see if they're any good or not. I think it's an interesting little concept. It's supposed to be like a nostalgic throwback, essentially. And here's what is on it. Because the Decades menu, I should also add, is not available as any sort of... You can't get it all in one sort of box. They have a little bit of a box, but not everything is in it for some odd reason. So here's what they all are. For the 1960s, you can get the Tostada. For the 1970s, you can get the green sauce burrito. For the 1980s, you can get the Meximelt. For the 90s, you can get the Gordita Supreme. And then for the 2000s, and again, this is the one that isn't out yet, you can get the caramel apple empanada. So, what my intention is going to be is to try out all 4 of these items. Again, let you know if they're any good or not, and that will be that. So first and foremost, we're going to start things off, and it came in this big bag right here. So I have it sitting right next to me. We're going to start things off with the Tostada first. This is going to be like 4 reviews in one. So the Tostada, this is the throwback to the 1960s, the earliest decade that Taco Bell was around. You could get this individually for the price of $2.19, and it has the flat, crispy tostada shell. On it is refried beans, tangy red sauce, lettuce, and shredded cheese. So, price again is around $2.19. You could see there's the box that it comes in. And the box is being a little stubborn, but there we go. You can see right there the tostada. Now, I'm giving everyone a little bit of a heads up of 2 things. Number 1, for the sake of time, I'm probably going to have to pause most of the time while I'm eating. I'll try to leave in a few bites here and there, but like I said, I don't have a ton of time. But secondly, I know a lot of people out there, especially when it comes down to Taco Bell, they have their favorites, and there may be feelings hurt in this. I'm just warning you right now. If it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. But I know that a lot of these items are iconic. I know a lot of people really like them, but if what I end up with is bad, it's just going to be what it is, and that's just how I do things. So, starting things off with the tostada. It's going in. Alright, and now, having taken a few bites of it at least, you can again see the cross section right there. That's actually the sauce that's on it. I put no sauce on this. And starting things off, the tostada is one of those items that I always feel like people either love it or hate it. And what I find trying this one out, I think the thing that really makes this, in my opinion, number one, I'll say that I was looking at it, and I've always found the tostadas from Taco Bell to be a little iffy. Many a time, I find them to be a bit on the more bland side. This time, however, I feel like they were very generous as far as the tangy red sauce is concerned, and that's really what makes this, because otherwise, you can say from a textural point of view, it does have that nice crunch from the crispy tostada shell, but otherwise it's not the most flavorful thing in the world. The refried beans are kind of just there. They almost have a certain, oddly, like a certain dryness to them, and it's just not the most flavorful thing in the world. The shredded cheese is just very basic, the lettuce is basic, but then you have that tangy red sauce that, again, it has this zestiness to it. It's not all that spicy. There's like a, maybe a mild little flavorful spice to it. But that tangy red sauce really does add to it, and that's where all the flavor is. So definitely, if you get the tostada as part of this meal, and you take a look at it, I would be willing to bet you could essentially gauge the quality, because, it can change from one Taco Bell to the other. You could sort of gauge the quality on the spot. Thought that was a fly flying around. I don't know if I swatted it away, but anyway, probably looked really ridiculous. But nonetheless, you could probably gauge the quality of it immediately just by looking down at it and seeing how much red sauce is on your tostada. If there's a good amount of red sauce on it, more likely than not, it's probably going to be decent. If there isn't much sauce on it, it might be on the more bland side, and that's something to be aware of. It is priced at, again, $2.20, which, it's Taco Bell prices, at least volume-wise. It's not the tiniest thing in the world. But again, this is an item that is heavily reliant on one ingredient that will essentially either make or break the item. So far, the tostada on the Decades menu from Taco Bell, out of 10, I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. It's not the best thing, not the worst, but definitely that sauce is what sort of makes it. It's what really gives it any sort of flavor. And still, it's not the most flavorful thing in the world. Nice crunch, sauce is decent. So again, 6 out of 10. Not the greatest, but not horrible either. So that is the 1960s right there. Next up, going to the 70s now, is the green sauce burrito. And I would presume this right here is it. Available at the price of $2.49. What is on it is more refried beans, green sauce, onions, and cheese. And again, $2.49, 1970s now. So we'll see how groovy it is. Definitely a burrito. And it seems as though it has decent volume to it. I should add, I ended up getting, not sure if I already said this or not, but I got some Baja Blast along with the meal. And refreshing and enjoyable as always. And in a moment, I'll tell you a little bit more about this Baja Blast. Anyway, let's see how this green sauce burrito is. Again, $2.50, throwback to the 70s on the Decades menu from Taco Bell. It's going in. Alright, so here's where the variability of Taco Bell, I think, is really starting to show itself. Like I said, I know how people feel about these cross-sections, and you know what I'm going to do. You can see real quick right here, this is the bite cross-section, right? And just keep in mind cross-section there. What I will do for the heck of it is just cut it in half, and as I'm doing that, I'll tell you what I'm concerned about with this one. So, like I said, there is variability when it comes down to Taco Bell. It's understandable. You can see there some of that moisture, at least. That is some of the sauce that's in there, thankfully. But it sort of has a sort of glaze to it. By that I mean it's very reflective in this sort of lighting. So as a result, that sort of sauce, it makes it look like there's a ton of sauce in there. And even when I took the bite, you know, I could sort of see it glistening in a sense. And I was having this sort of disconnect because I was thinking, well, you know, I see all this moisture, and I presume that's the green sauce that's on this. I mean, mind you, this is the namesake of this burrito, so why can't I really taste any? And that's the problem. Unfortunately, while there is some of that sauce on this, it looks like there's more on it than there really is, and that's a bit disappointing. I can't actually taste all that much of the green sauce. The refried beans, again, have that similar sort of dry characteristic that they had in the tostada as well, which, you know, is what it is. However, in this case, the green sauce can't really be tasted all that much, and what I taste more than anything else are this copious amount of just these raw onions that are in there, and there are tons of them. I mean, there are so many onions in this thing. The first bite that I took was actually all onions, and I did not like that, to be honest. It was extremely potent, to excess, in my opinion, and really that just dominates this. Now again, it might come down to individual preparation. They might have just absolutely doused this with onions and put so many on this, but I can't really taste much else. Because as you know, onions can be strong, they can be very potent, and resultantly, it sort of drowns everything else out. And the refried beans don't help all that much, but these onions especially are just they overpower everything else. You know, it's mildly cheesy, but aside from that, you can't really taste much of that green sauce at all because the onions just sort of cancel everything out. So that's disappointing. And I was looking forward to this. I was thinking, oh, it's going to be interesting. You know, I wonder how that green sauce is really, how it's going to add to this and how it's going to be. But really, this is more or less just the onion burrito, and that's about it. So, you know, your mileage may vary, but I really wish I could have tasted more of that green sauce. I wish there was more of it on there and less of the onion. That doesn't mean that there had to be no onions, but I certainly wish that there was, again, more sauce and less onion on this burrito. So, a bit disappointed in that. Out of 10, I'm going to give the green sauce burrito. It wasn't really all that enjoyable. I'm going to give it 4.9 out of 10. Again, not the worst thing, but so far, the tostada takes the lead. Next, we go to the 1980s with the Meximelt. That's an item that a lot of people were really talking about. They're saying, oh, they brought back the Meximelt. Available at the price of $2.99. What it is, has seasoned beef on it, a 3-cheese blend, as well as pico de gallo. And again, available for the price of $3. I believe it's a fire sauce. Let's see. Because now these start looking similar, so. Okay, we have that one there. I should probably just pause this so I don't take up any more time. Okay, there we go. Got the right one now. I just wanted to make sure I made sure I got everything. So, the Meximelt, again, right here, available for around $3. I was going to mention, by the way, that the Baja Blast that you can get at Taco Bell as a soft drink is because some of you might know you could also get Baja Blast these days in cans from various retailers. And what I have noticed, this is just my observation anyway, is that there are differences between the Baja Blast in the cans and the soft drink version. And I'm curious if you notice any differences as well. But in my case, I always notice that the Baja Blast in the cans is slightly less carbonated than what you can get from the Taco Bell itself. I'm curious if you notice any differences or similarities or what your observations are. Anyway, let's go to the 1980s now. The Meximelt from the Decades menu from Taco Bell that's going in. I don't like having to pause the camera so many times, but otherwise this review would probably be like 40 minutes long, and because I could easily talk about each item for an extended period of time, and I'm just trying to make this quick so I can get to everything. All right, the Meximelt, I think things have taken a turn now. The first two items were, they were iffy a little bit, but the Meximelt, this is the first of, so far, of the Decades menu that I'm trying out anyway that I can say, yeah, this is pretty good. I am very happy with the Meximelt, and it's a pretty simple item, but if you look at the cross section, I think you could easily see why I'm a fan of it. Because again, what it has on it is seasoned beef, 3 cheese blend, and pico de gallo. And what can you see comprises the majority of this? The seasoned beef. And I always like it when that's the case. It's sort of, obviously thinking back to how fast food was decades ago, that's sort of a pleasant throwback to it, when you could actually get a decent portion of the beef on an item. So it's good to see that there is a good amount of beef here, especially by volume. Every bite had a good amount of that seasoned beef on it. Yeah, it's not the highest quality in the world. I mean, this is taco meat from Taco Bell we're talking about here. You have to understand that, but still, flavorful all things concerned. It is cheesy as well. The cheese is sort of melted in, but you do get that cheese in every single bite, and the pico de gallo is fresh and flavorful. So far, of these 3 items, the Meximelt is the best by far, easily. I will also say I did take advantage of this fire sauce packet and put a little bit on it as well. And the fire sauce goes really nicely with it. That little bit of the spice from the fire sauce, it complements the beef nicely. And like I said, good cheesiness. Pico de gallo is fresh and of better quality than I was actually anticipating. But so far, the Meximelt, easily the best of all of these. I would give this an 8.5 out of 10. It's a simple item, but it's good. And sometimes that simplicity is key. Sometimes the best items are the simplest, really. Definitely of the 3, the Meximelt is winning out so far. Not even close. So now, we go to the 1990s, where we try out the Gordita Supreme. Available at the price, also of $2.99. What this has on it is seasoned beef, sour cream, tomatoes, 3 cheese blend, lettuce, and it is on that Gordita shell. Again, price is $3. And you can see the shell right there. And I'm going to try it out now. So let's see how the Gordita Supreme on the Decades menu from Taco Bell is. It's going in. And now I don't think I'll have to pause it anymore, because now I've tried out the final item on the Decades menu. Again, as you can see in the cross-section here, this is sort of similar to how the Meximelt was. you can see there is a good amount of both the beef and the ingredients. The gordita shell has this sort of floury softness to it. It's soft, but it is thicker than a regular tortilla. And all in all, I will say that the Gordita Supreme is also, in sort of a similar vein to the Meximelt, quite good. It has, as again you could see in the cross-section, a good amount of ingredients. Beef is of similar quality to the Meximelt, so I don't really need to sound like a broken record here. I will say that the sour cream definitely adds to this. The ingredients are once again still fresh. I think you could even see in the cross-section that the lettuce did look pretty crisp. The tomatoes are vibrant and fresh, which is good. And then that sour cream, that sharpness of it definitely does complement the beef nicely. Still, I tried it out also with some of the fire sauce again, and it definitely works. This is one of those items that I would say it can definitely come down to execution, in that if it's made the wrong way, it can just be a total disaster, and it could just be an absolute mess. But this is nice, good amount of ingredients, flavorful, and of good quality. So the Gordita Supreme, similar to the Meximelt, even slightly better, I would say. Not by much, but I would give this an 8.8 out of 10. So, as far as the Decades menu is concerned, again, so far we've tried out the releases from the 60s to the 90s. The 2000s release will be coming up later on in the month of November, so it is not out yet. But so far, what my recommendation and analysis of the Decades menu from Taco Bell, it starts off slow. The 60s and 70s releases are iffy, maybe considered, in your case, they might be better than what I got, or they might be worse, but I think for reliability, I would recommend getting either the Meximelt or the Gordita Supreme. Each one is around $3, but those are definitely the two best items on the menu. The green sauce burrito was disappointing, and the tostada was just unremarkable. So I hope this review proved to be informative, and that's all that I have for you. Thank you for watching, and until next time, I'm your host, The Report of the Week. Tried out, rather quickly, the Decades menu from Taco Bell. Take care.